still going though. We still going. We go. Yeah, we got you.
Wonderful, wonderful,
brother. Doing real good. Okay.
German. I'm German Chanel, born and raised here in Jacksonville, Florida. How you doing out there, Duval County? We're happy to have you tuned in this evening. I'm born and raised here. Own a company called Blacksonville.com. We're very active in the community. We have a passion to really unite folks throughout the African diaspora. This is a wonderful opportunity for us to pull our resources, our mind, and our intelligence together. I can't wait to introduce the number of things that we'll be discussing. But I am a local advocate for Jacksonville. I love my city. I love the surrounding. I love Florida, period. I mean, it's such opportunity here, and look forward to working with the group in the future.
Yes, sir. Diallo, Sekou, born right here in Jacksonville, Florida. I'm a local activist as well as a national activist. I just finished my first book called Understanding Jurisdiction and Status for Moors in North America that deals with a political thing and trying to correct certain political status for our people in the country. I'm also working with Linda Dyson. She has an organization, Hurting Families with Children in Crime. And basically anybody that's trying to do some good, that's progressive, information that's applicable, I'm willing to work with them. We all are willing to work with them.
Well, we want to introduce the show gradually. The show is called Middle Passage. Our focus is to unite Africans throughout the diaspora. We are in the gateway of a new world order, if you will, and we're on the threshold of it. So we want to make sure that we are bridging minds on the educational level, on an institutional level. We want to make sure that we're bridging minds from a generational level. We want to cross cultures. So we want to deal with how the Middle Passage of old applies to us today, and with this new economy that we're going into, where the government mostly is the leading #1 institution, the leading funding institution in the world. We know that we're moving into a socialist type of economy, and if our people don't understand how they play a role in it, if they can't leverage the opportunities that are out there in the midst of a staggering economy, then we'll further get farther and farther behind. So the Middle Passage is prophetic in a sense, and we have a number of special guests that we'll introduce in the next couple of weeks that will be able to guide us through the maze.
Yeah, we got a contract. We got to seal my signing bonuses.
Get the money right.
And Fred, I want to get this too, man. I don't know if a lot of people know that you put out the archives, that you see in a lot of your Caribbean restaurants. You're really putting in a lot of work and information as well. So that's a big up to you, brother.
Yes, sir. Definitely. Good. Thanks.
Okay. Hey, we need that number.
Right.
For the call
694-1057. That's the number, yeah. That is the call-in number. We do want you to be very active. This is the first kickoff of the show. We're going to stay in introduction mode because we don't want to, give you too much. We don't want to overrun off your cup just yet. But there's a lot of issues that are going on out there in the world, and for the most part, Jacksonville has been known to be a quiet city that kind of keeps progression internal, but there's a movement, there's a cultural movement. People are migrating to the city from the Caribbean arena. People are coming from Jamaica and Trinidad and Barbados looking for opportunity. here in Florida. Florida is synonymous with Little Africa. I like to call it Little Africa. We sit right up under the equator, and we have wonderful weather here, you know, a very diverse culture. So the Middle Passage is created to bridge the gap, to bridge the educational gap. So I want to let Diallo talk a bit about the historical relevance of the Middle Passage for a moment, because we need to put you in the mindset of the past. You know, how did we get here today?
Well, when we say we gotta do a lot of clarification and redefining of ourselves, because as a researcher, as a teacher, we find there are a lot of things that we've been taught are what they call misnomers, bad information. For example, we talk about a lot of our people talk about Middle Passage, the African slave trade, which historically has been taught West Africa and then brought to America. When in fact we found with further research that this is also somewhat backwards. When in fact it's been noted and authorized, published in several books about some of the people and the names that they found here in America were the names of Ali's, Els, Bays. They had more ethnic names when they came. It was told that they came here to America, which the North American continent, let me be specific, enslaved those people, went the other way, went over to Italy, went over into Rome, where they would change the names, where you'll no longer be a Moor, but you'll be called a Morisco, which is a little more. Or when it went over to the Portuguese called Negro. And it was first noted then called that 1411, and then all the way back around from the continent of Africa, then brought back to America. So a lot of times we think that 100 million people that were brought over from 300, 400 years has been somewhat exaggerated and mistold. And we have to ask the question, where are the slave ships? Who are the slave ships that were bringing? Not saying that it never happened, but 100 million in the diaspora, which the majority were dropped off supposedly in South America, and the North American continent had about maybe 15 to 25% of that 100 million. Some died in the Middle Passage as well.
But I think so. What you're saying is that there is the fact of the matter that there is an amalgamation of the races at one central point in time. Which direction it occurred is questionable.
Right.
There is an amalgamation of the races that occurred about 500 years ago that brought us all here to today.
What you're talking about is a cattle form of slavery. What we look, if you know business, in the origin of business in any form of government, you've always had a master and a slave. Whether it was a cattle form, which brought over into the 1400s, first introduced by the Portuguese Europeans, or it was just a servitude of slavery, which most nations on the planet had. The Romans, the Kemetic people, the Moors, most nations had a servitude form of slavery, which means you put in work for 5 to 7 years and you go free.
Even indentured servitude.
Indentured servitude also.
In Southern Europe, right.
And so what we're looking at now those people here in North American shores have suffered from subjugation and the indoctrination on every level from the slavery of the Europeans. And so now we're at a point, we know these things, we have to constantly be reminded of these things and use that past as the base to build our future.
That's right, that's right. I just want to say to Lake City, to Live Oak, to Brunswick, Georgia, to Waycross, that we are here and we're reaching out to you because this is progressive talk radio. And for the first time, we're able to really tap into some of the issues that are passionate to us. We have a lot of questions about what took place 400, 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, and never before are they relevant more than this time today. So we're going to deal with a lot of deep, conscious issues that you may never have heard on the radio before, but we want you to call in and be a part of this experience. This is Progressive Talk Radio. If you want to chime in at any given point, 694-1057. We want to hear what the callers have to say because this is about the Middle Passage. And ultimately, it gives us a sense of knowledge in terms of how we are here today and what's most important and dear for our future.
Yeah, when you look at when the Europeans came and recolonized North America, they had an idea. They wanted a land that would be free, liberty. You know, when you read the pre